Hemesath, and today I'll be discussing the communication differences between men and women, specifically in the workplace. As you'll notice, this is an image of the well-known symbols for males and females. They're intertwined to show that throughout everyday life, men and women are constantly interacting with each other, so it would be best if we knew how to better communicate and understand each other. The definition for difference from the Merriam-Webster dictionary is the element or factor that separates or distinguishes contrasting situations. So I'd like to point out that while I'll be saying the differences between males and females communication styles, I'm not saying that one style is better than the other, just that they're different. The first communication style I'll be addressing is emailing. Women revolve around relationships, being supportive, making suggestions, apologizing, offering things, and asking questions during their emails. Whereas men strive to portray themselves as experts and seek influence and respect within their emails. I'm sure all of you email males and females probably every day, and maybe you've noticed these differences yourself. The next difference is with asking questions. Men ask questions only to gather information and only when they have to. However, women ask questions to gather information, but also to build relationships and to show interest. I have a personal story about this that actually led to conflict. My boss asked me to start a secret shopper program for the local business that he owns. So I went to the business and had never met the manager before. So I was asking him questions just to build a relationship with him, but a lot of the questions I already knew the answer to. Well, later he called my boss and said that I was asking these questions, didn't really seem like I knew what I was doing, and maybe I lacked direction on this project. My boss asked me about this, and I said that I already knew the answer to the questions, I was merely trying to build a relationship. But because both my boss and the manager are males, they didn't understand this style of communication, and it did lead to conflict. The next difference is with making demands. Men are much more direct than women, while women tend to use taglines such as, "don't you think," or "if you don't mind," and then they follow it with a demand. They soften their demands in order to maintain harmony in their relationship. If any of you have worked for both males and females, you probably noticed these differences, and maybe you prefer one or the other. Maybe you think men are too direct and harsh, or maybe you think that women need to be more clear and tell you exactly what they want. The next difference we'll address is processing information. When women make decisions, they think out loud and voice the different options, while men tend to process internally until they make a decision. Women often think that men are being unresponsive to suggestions because of this, and men think that women are looking for approval when they think out loud or don't know what they're doing or which decisions they'd like to make. The next difference is their attitudes towards tasks versus relationships. Women tend to be more relationship-oriented and accomplish tasks by first making relationships input in the group, and then the group moves towards finishing the task. Whereas men are more task-oriented and go straight to the task, and they build their relationships while doing the project. During talk time, men take up more time and space at meetings. Women are more concerned with equality and making sure that everyone gets to speak. Even if a woman has more experience on a topic, she'll make sure that everyone gets to speak so there's equality. And contrary to popular belief, men actually do speak more than women, and men interrupt women more than women interrupt men. Nonverbal communication also holds a vast variety of differences for each gender. Women nod their head to show that they're listening, but a man thinks that this means a woman agrees with him. So when he leaves the meeting, he thinks that she agreed and they were good to go. Well, later he finds out she was just nodding her head to show that she was listening, and that causes conflict. For a man to show he's listening, he stays in a neutral body position. But women interpret this as to mean that the man is bored or he's not understanding what she's saying. So if he's just sitting there and she's speaking, she'll often repeat herself or ask if he's understanding what she's saying, but then the man interprets this as insecurity or that the woman doesn't have confidence as a leader. Regarding eye contact, women will use more direct eye contact to create a relationship, but men will view this as a challenge to their power. With body positioning, women approach others from the front, which men view as too personal or even aggressive. Men prefer to approach from the side at an angle, but this makes the woman think that a man's not being up front or even that he's hiding something. So what causes all these differences? Well, first there's the brain chemicals. Men produce more testosterone, which is an aggressive chemical, and women produce more oxytocin, which encourages them to build relationships, which would explain why they'll first build relationships before moving to a task. Then there's the brain matter. Men have more gray matter, which is used for local processing of thoughts and tasks, and women have more white matter, which connects everything and helps her to process life events faster than men. This is a pie chart that shows the male traits and the female traits, and then the accepted business traits. As you'll notice, most of the business traits are in the male trait circle, which is great for them, but is a disadvantage for females. This means she only has this small little chunk to work in, so she has to go away from most of her feminine traits to be accepted in the business world and taken seriously. A male colleague may be referred to as assertive, communicative, or passionate, whereas a similar female colleague may be referred to as aggressive, nagging, or emotional. Now, I found this TED Talk by the CEO of Facebook that is very helpful. She explains a study that was done that refers to this information.
What the data shows above all else is one thing, which is that success and likability are positively correlated for men and negatively correlated for women. And everyone's nodding because we all know this to be true. There's a really good study that shows this really well. There's a famous Harvard Business School study on a woman named Heidi Roizen. And she's an operator in a venture capital company in Silicon Valley, and she uses her contacts to become a very successful venture capitalist. In 2002, not so long ago, a professor who was then at Columbia University took that case and made it Heidi Roizen. And he gave that case out, both of them, to two groups of students. He changed exactly one word, Heidi to Howard. But that one word made a really big difference. He then surveyed the students, and the good news was the students, both men and women, thought Heidi and Howard were equally competent, and that's good. The bad news was that everyone liked Howard. He's a great guy. You want to work for him. You want to spend the day fishing with him. But Heidi, not so sure. She's a little out for herself. She's a little political. You're not sure you'd want to work for her. This is the complication. We have to tell our daughter and our colleagues, we have to tell our...
So Sheryl Sandberg does an excellent job of showing that men and women can have the same personality, act the same way, but they're perceived differently in the business world. So what are the effects of these differences? Well, they're shown here in a chart that 1 year after graduation, a female is making 82% of what a male is making. So he's making roughly $8,000 more than she is just 1 year after graduation from college. Then once they're into the workplace, median weekly earnings, a female makes 82.2% of a male's 100%, and for annual pay full-time, year-round, a female is making 77% of a male's 100%. So this breaks it down into the different occupations. For the lower paying jobs, the gap is smaller and females are making closer to that of males. So for social workers, programmers, primary school teachers, and waitresses/waiters, females and males are making closer to the same amount of money. But for the higher paying jobs, police officers, lawyers, CEOs, physicians and surgeons, and personal financial advisors, males are making significantly more income than females are. So how can we bridge this gap? How can we make males and females' income closer together? Well, first we need to work on better understanding each other. If we can understand our nonverbal communication, the head nodding, the sitting straight, listening to each other, we'll be able to be less confused with what each other means. So first, don't stereotype all men or all women. The information that I shared was just generalizations. It doesn't refer to every individual. Next, be aware. Be aware of your stereotypes and your biases so you're not judging one another. Then become informed. This speech is the first step, but try to learn more information on your own. Look for the differences. Observe both males and females. And lastly, practice understanding. We're all around the opposite sex all day. Understand what they mean, why they're saying the things they are, and understand that they have the best intentions in mind. You just might not be understanding them.